Good evening. This is Senior Grandmaster Jimenez coming from Kajukenbo After Dark. Today, I got some people call me and they were just having conversations about if a transgender man wanted to fight into the women's division in a martial arts tournament. And he kind of wanted to get my opinion on it and stuff like that. And so I gave him my opinion. But I thought I'd kind of share it to you today with a couple other little things. I'm sure most people will agree in the martial arts on this. So it's probably a no-brainer, but there's a few out there that will disagree. When a transgender man wants to go in the women's division in a karate tournament, as a promoter, you're kind of put on a spot. Like you can get sued if you don't let him, but then if you let him, then he can actually hurt somebody. So that's sometimes the predicament you're in. My personal opinion: there's no way any man that decides he wants to be a woman should be able to compete in any sport. Look what happened to the girl with the swimming team. A 6-foot man decided he wanted to be a woman and went in that division. And she took second and she was a top swimmer. That's not fair to her. The volleyball thing, the boxer in the Olympics, the guy that came in there and fought in the women's division, because he wanted to be a woman. Okay. Now in your head, if you want to be a woman, that's great. That's your opinion. That's your business, whatever you want to do. But you're still a man. You still have the physical capability, the strength, more than a woman has. Now, I've seen some top women fighters out there, like in my era in the 70s, Tammy Gerson, she'll take it to a guy. I mean, she's just that way. She would take it to the guy. But realistically, you get somebody that's stronger and heavier, bigger. It's most likely in a sporting event, the woman's not going to win. So it's 100% not fair. And if I was a promoter, which I was in the past, if it came across to me, I would tell them the same thing. No, you can't. Now, will I probably get sued? Probably. I could. Or the, what do they call it? That thing that they're in, that they have an organization, protecting the transgender people and the gays and lesbians and stuff like that. That's fine. Whatever you want to do is your choice. I mean, I care less what you do. But when it comes to the safety of another competitor, there's no way that person should be allowed. Just like a while back, and this has nothing to do with the transgender thing, but it has something to do with AIDS. I had a student come in and really put me in a spot. She came in, she had her 2 boys up. She goes, my husband, he went to school with your sister. And I said, oh, okay, tell me who he was. I go, yeah, I kind of think I remember him a little bit. I go, oh, how's he doing? Well, he's in the hospital and he's got AIDS and he's dying. He's got full-blown AIDS. I said, oh, wow, okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Anyway, she signed the 2 boys up, and I asked her, I said, what about you? You have 2 kids with him. He's had AIDS for a long time. And she says, no, we're clear. The 2 children are clear. The kids were like probably, 6, 7 years old. If not even that, maybe 6 years old. Both of them, because they were real little kids, 5 and 6. And I said, okay. So then he came in the next day to say hello, and he was full-blown AIDS, and all this, just horrible. And, he wound up passing away probably about a week or so after that. But the predicament that I was put in was that she went and told the other parents the situation. So what did I get? I get the backlash. They came in my office, what the hell are you doing? You're letting those kids come in here with AIDS. And my kids are in the class. I'm like, well, first of all, they don't have AIDS. they were tested. The mother was tested. They get tested every so many years, and they're completely clean. The husband had it, but the other ones didn't. Well, we don't know that could be a lie. That it is true. It could have. She could have lied, but it put me in that spot. So what should I have done? Kick the kids out, you know, and take the chance of getting sued, or leave them in there, and my, you know, it's hard to get AIDS, from especially the little kids pee-wee things. They're not going to give each other AIDS, but like bumping heads and the blood and all that stuff. They said that later on that didn't, you can't get AIDS from that, but it put me in that spot. And the same thing is the transgender thing with the women's division. You get put in that spot. In my case, I lucked out that she came in. I kind of was upset. Like, why would you tell other parents that? She just left it alone. And she didn't think nothing about it. But then she wound up having to quit it a couple of days later because after the husband passed, she couldn't afford it. And usually I was like, if they have no money, I still let them come in and train. But in this case, I kind of went, okay, I let it go. So I kind of covered both our butts on that. But the thing is the same thing. You get in that predicament that what are you going to do? Okay, so that's my opinion on that, and that's what I told the people that had called me today on opinion on that. I was watching Piers Morgan today about the Charlie Kirk thing, and they had four other podcasters on there, and two women and two men, and it was kind of sad because what they were getting at was making, like one guy was making stupid TikTok video things of making fun of him because he got shot in the neck and killed, making fun of his wife because what she said after and stuff, and kind of really making fun of him like a total asshole, right? And he just wouldn't stop. And then he turned it into a black thing. And it went on, and it had nothing to do with that. If you listen to Charlie Kirk, a lot of his things he talked about, I really wasn't into watching all that stuff, but I've been watching it lately, and I've noticed that he was pretty dead on a lot of his stuff. He pretty much 99% of the stuff, he was dead on. And if people want to take it and twist it, make it ugly and stuff like that, well, I guess that's on them. But the one thing you can't do is you can't make fun of somebody that was shot and killed and murdered over his opinion. Remember, his opinion. That's the sad part. And then they turned it into a Trump thing and all this. I don't want to get into politics stuff, but they turned it into a Trump thing, and then the black guy turned it into a black thing, he didn't protect the black people. None of his interviews said that. He always stuck up for, he said there's no color. Everybody's, the same. He's always said that. So people are twisting things and making it ugly. And I watched the show for about an hour or so, and it was pretty sad listening to that kind of crap from the two guys. The two girls were good friends of Charlie Kirk, and so what a nice guy he was and stuff like that. And the other two just kept interrupting them and just, making fun of him and stuff like that. But to get to the point is that everybody has their own opinion. Like the transgender people fighting in tournaments, some will say, yeah, it's okay because nowadays he's a woman, just like Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner, what you want to call her. She can call herself Caitlyn Jenner and dress like a girl and all that stuff like that. I mean, who cares? But realistically, she's a man, or he's a man. Okay, but that's his belief or her belief, what you want to call her. So that's their belief. So they can go ahead and do what they want to do. It's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect anybody. But what it does affect is when you get someone that's a transgender guy, want to be a girl, and I think they stopped it now, but they tried to allow them so they'd be able to go in the girls' bathroom. Now, I'm sure there's people out there with young girls and stuff like that. You don't want a guy going in the bathroom. You don't want a guy going into the showers after a sporting event just because in his mind he wants to be a girl. I wouldn't want my kids around that. There's some people can get mad at me for saying that because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to speak my opinion. I'm going to speak how I feel, and that's just the way it is. It's my beliefs. It doesn't have to be your beliefs. But like I said, as long as it doesn't affect my children or myself or whatever, or affect any other body's children, then they can do what they want to do. The best thing they do is, to be honest with you, is have bathrooms that has one toilet in there and a door you open up and you lock it. So you have a guy and a girl can use that bathroom, but not at the same time. I mean, that's fair. But when you have a bathroom that says men over here, women over here, okay, and he wants to go in the women's bathroom, not too cool. That's my opinion. So like I said, that's the thought we had today, a little discussion we had, and like I said, I'm very disappointed in a lot of people right now in the United States that are making fun of a man that was shot and killed over his opinion. It actually makes me sick to my stomach. Like I said, if someone talks bad about me, which they have, who cares? I know better, okay? Or if I see somebody else that I don't agree with, okay, that's great. But no one's gonna go out and shoot them because of it, because that's just their opinion. That's called freedom of speech. So, even like I said in the martial arts and stuff like that, when people, argue and fight over silly stuff like they have in the past and stuff like that, I doubt seriously if anybody's going to go out there and shoot the other one because of what they said. And if they did, it is not all there. So to keep that in mind, have a little bit of love in your heart. Like I said, for someone just gave their opinion, and if you pay attention and listen to a lot of his stuff that he says, he doesn't say anything bad. It was 99% of the time it was pretty good, and he had good advice. So maybe a lot of people took it wrong, but again, I say one more time by ending this video, have a little love in your heart, and that's all I gotta say. It's just do the best you can. But like I said, that's my opinion on the story. It was brought to me today about that, so I thought I'd throw it out there, and I throw a little stuff in there. And, so I enjoy it. And last thing I'm going to say is I'll put a little thing out there. One of my old students, Michael, he calls me every day, or he texts me every day. He's always watching all the videos I do and stuff like that. He's really nice guy and stuff like that. And so I'm just kind of shout out to him, and I hope you enjoy this video. And I promise you I'll send you those 60 DVDs that you wanted, and I'll send them out to you on Monday. So I thought I'd give that a little shout out to you. Again, I'm Senior Grandmaster Jimenez. This is Kajukenbo After Dark. Until next time, I'll talk to you again.